I think the biggest mistake they make is they're just trying to they focus solely on, and not that it's not important, but they focus solely on like budget, and they focus solely on that. And they're not really looking at what is like big picture. Budget is, of course, very important. But sometimes you can get something really nice in a really great neighborhood that gives you the opportunity to improve on it later on, or something that might be a little bit bigger, but you're like, okay, I have a little bit of room to grow, a little bit of room to breathe, and it's actually fitting all of the lifestyle check boxes that you need. So I think the biggest mistake they make is, okay, this house has 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, it has a backyard, maybe there's a fence, and it's $500,000.
Today, we have Jen Ramirez. She's a realtor here in the North and South Carolina area. She specializes in the Lake Wylie and Greater Charlotte areas. She serves buyers and sellers across communities, including Rock Hill, Clover, Fort Mill, Lancaster, but she's strongly focused on guiding outside and out-of-state clients through the moving process. Jen, thank you so much for being with us, and make yourself at home.
Thank you so much, Dee. I appreciate it. I'm going to kick my shoes off and get comfortable here on the couch. So thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so thankful that you're here. We're actually in the same area. We actually have never crossed paths. And I tell people every day, there are 25,000 realtors in the Charlotte area. So spit and you'll hit one.
Yeah. Just don't spit on me, but yes.
Exactly. So what led you to specialize in relocation clients in the Lake Wylie area?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking. We are a big military family. Our children, two of our sons are in the military. My husband is retired Army, and we are originally from San Antonio, Texas. Now, because of either military life or even corporate life, we have moved and lived in a lot of different areas. We've lived in 8 different cities, 4 different states. We even spent some time as expats living in Antwerp, Belgium for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So during that entire time, we have always bought and sold homes. And I like to joke, I'll tell a story later on, but we have always bought and sold homes. So I have been the mom and the wife looking for schools, finding the new doctors, figuring out how close the grocery store is, which grocery store do I prefer, looking for jobs, helping husband look for job. I've done all of those things. And so I like to guide my clients because I have literally walked in their shoes. So I completely understand. And that's why when I started, my business name is Relo Pro Homes, because I consider I am myself a self-proclaimed relocation professional, just because I've done it so many times.
Yeah. Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for your service. My family is also a military family, not my personal family, but my extended family. My cousin, actually, her husband is currently Army Reserves. We do have a couple Marines in our family and such. And it's not just those that are in the service that serve, but also the family. So thank you so much for your service.
Indeed. It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
So you tell clients that they're choosing a daily routine, not just a house. What do you mean by that?
Exactly. So what I mean by that is, and this is getting back to, I was about to tell a story. We would, for example, when we lived in Virginia Beach, we had to be there right away. And this is usually most of the case. This is most of the case for people who are moving because of like a job situation. They have to be there quickly. So they have about 30 to 45 days to make a decision. They got to be somewhere quick. When we had that experience, we lived in Virginia Beach. We bought a house. We loved the house. The price point was perfect, but it just didn't fit our lifestyle. So even though the house was beautiful, we loved it, our neighbors were nice, it just didn't feel like home. So literally within a year, we sold that house and moved to another one. It's because the other house, and it wasn't even that far away, it was maybe within 2 miles, but it fit our lifestyle better. So we felt more comfortable. And so what I like to coach my clients and guide them on is we do a lot of research ahead of time. I ask them a lot of questions. What is your daily routine like? What do you guys do on the weekend? Do you go hiking? Do you like to go shopping? Do you like to go visit local farmers markets? Do you have a lot of soccer games or volleyball games or whatever it is that you do? Because that's important, because their daily routine isn't going to change. Usually it's going to stay mostly the same as where they came from. And so that helps you to feel more comfortable so that they're not making the mistake that my husband and I made when we spent that time in Virginia Beach. We're like, okay, we bought a house. Now we got to move all over again, because even the perfect house will seem imperfect if it doesn't fit your lifestyle. And so I really like to focus on that.
So, as a relocation specialist, but I do it for corporate folks, I do the same thing. So, what's the biggest mistake that people make when they relocate to a new city?
I think the biggest mistake they make is they're just trying to they focus solely on, and not that it's not important, but they focus solely on like budget, and they focus solely on that. And they're not really looking at what is like big picture. Budget is, of course, very important. But sometimes you can get something really nice in a really great neighborhood that gives you the opportunity to improve on it later on, or something that might be a little bit bigger, but you're like, okay, I have a little bit of room to grow, a little bit of room to breathe, and it's actually fitting all of the lifestyle check boxes that you need. So I think the biggest mistake they make is, okay, this house has 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, it has a backyard, maybe there's a fence, and it's $500,000. All right, we'll just pick that one.
We also see, I don't know about you, but one of the things that we also see is like, even with relocators from the general area. So I tell people Charlotte is actually made up of 16 counties. That includes 4 in South Carolina, because we're budgeting. We're bumping up against another state. And so we get people who move here that are even from like the foothills. That is still considered part of Charlotte, but it's not really Charlotte. So you'll get people from like Kings Mountain, Hickory, you'll get them from Black Mountain, all of those different areas, because they've been coming to Charlotte to go to concerts. So they're used to the 1.5-hour, 2-hour drive. It's not that far. So they move in here and they're like, I want to be in this town. And I'm like, especially I have one right now. She is an older client and she's, I want to be next to my daughter. And I'm like, okay, that's not a problem. You can be next to your daughter, but she's coming up on 80 and we're asking her questions of, what do you do? Well, I play bridge. I can play bridge anywhere. And I'm like, okay, but if we put you in a community that has a bridge club, would that make your life a little, and you actually would live around people who play bridge together. So you actually can play bridge and practice at home. So we ask those questions as well. So it is truly not just about finding a home. You can find a home anywhere. Yeah. I tell people all the time, I said, I can sell you a home anywhere, but to find you a place that actually becomes home is a whole different aspect.
It's a whole other ballgame.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'll tell you, I was hosting an open house this weekend on one of my listings. The listing, it's a fabulous house. It's on 1 acre, no HOA. It's like 3 years old, 5 bedroom, 4 bath. It's in Clover, which is a pretty popular school district here in the area. Yep. And then a couple of families came in talking about proximity from Fort Mill. And Fort Mill, for people who don't know, you can probably be from Fort Mill to Clover, let's say 20, 30 minutes tops, depending on which way you came, but let's say 20 minutes. So the family came in and they're like, we were looking at Clover, we wanted to hear, but we didn't know it was this far. Like, we didn't want to be this far in the country. And I'm like, it's really not in the country. It's just it's on perspective, because there are certain areas like a Fort Mill that are more, let's say there's more populated is not the right word, but there's more shopping, there's more dining, there's more restaurants. It's closer to the highway, depending on where in Fort Mill. Or once you get to Lake Wylie and Clover, there's not as many options. It has that like country, smaller town feel. There's more local restaurants, not big chains, and it's more laid back. So it can feel like you're like in the country, but you're not really in the country. So even people who live here and they're looking at, let me go to another area, they're like, oh, wait a minute, is this really? So you have to adjust. But
it's huge.
But still a difference.
Yeah, it's huge the difference that a small, densely packed area can make to a suburban, not densely packed area makes. Because as we have 157 people that move into our area every single day. during 2021 and 22, 46% of those were moving into the Lancaster and York County areas. So we had an inflood of people coming directly here. Now we're actually seeing that it's starting to bloom out. We're starting to see York County is actually 30th on the list of the 50 most populated counties in our area. So it's starting to slow down people moving in here because Lancaster and Fort Mill have gotten so densely populated.
Yeah, indeed.
What ownership costs surprise out-of-state buyers the most?
For good or bad, right?
Yeah,
Either
both.
one.
It's
Yeah,
just
well,
a surprise. What is a good or bad surprise that most out-of-state buyers find?
I will tell you the biggest surprise that my clients get, most of my clients, and then uniquely, I have a lot of clients from, let's say, 5 areas. I have a lot of New Jersey clients, a lot of people moving from New Jersey, a lot of people
Yep.
moving from Chicago, Atlanta, Florida. But especially for my New Jersey folks, they are just amazed at the price of the property taxes. I was showing one family and we were looking at the house. They came from Hoboken and they were like, "Oh, what is like the property taxes?" And I said, I looked at the history and at the time it was like $2,200 a year annual property taxes. And so I said $2,200 and I didn't specify. I just said $2,200 and they're like, "Oh, a month? Oh yeah, that's doable." And I was like, "No, a year." And they were like, "What?" So that was a really big one.
One of the ones that we were talking about just before was our due diligence.
Yeah. And
People
then, yeah.
struggle to get their brains wrapped, especially if they're from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
They really struggle to get their brain wrapped around where up there it takes their escrow almost 90 days before they move. And they're amazed at how quickly we move, that from the moment you get a contract to the moment you're moving into your house can be as little as 30 days.
Yeah.
And if you're paying with cash, because there are a lot of them coming from those areas, paying with cash, you can move in 10.
Yeah.
And they're like, "How can you buy a house in under 2 weeks?" I'm like, the title's the only thing that takes you that long. But what they have a hard time wrapping their brain around is our due diligence.
Yeah.
And in our area, due diligence is a time frame that you pay for. And it's not just escrow money that you put out, earnest money deposit that they divvy up. We did have that, but that was way back in 2008 and 9. They actually changed this not long after I got in with the whole due diligence piece. And people struggle with, I have to pay the seller money to be able to walk away. And I'm like, yeah, but it gives you the freedom that if you just get a bad taste in your mouth, you can walk. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, just because you're under contract, you get to bye and you're gone. So that's another one that we see.
Yeah, I just had that situation with one of my buyers, and we were talking about due diligence and termination fees, and she got to a point and she was like, something's just not right." We were looking at one of the contingencies is our due diligence and during that termination period. In other states, they call it an option period. But we were talking about that, and we were like, "This is what we can do if you're not happy. If we don't agree with the sellers on requested repairs, etc., you absolutely have that you can terminate the contract, and then you pay whatever we put into the contract as the termination fee in the state of South Carolina." Correct. You know what you would pay, but it has to be paid
before it terminates.
Exactly.
So, and that's
giving them all that, which is a little bit different from how termination works in North Carolina. And
correct.
Knowing the difference, especially if you're an out-of-state buyer and you're looking like on the border, because a lot of our great homes and great neighborhoods are like right there. Even our amusement park, Carowinds, is in both states. Correct. So you'll find places that are like, which one is which?
And that's key, is finding an agent who knows not only North Carolina and South Carolina. Because if you're hopping borders, you need somebody who knows both sides. Because you're right, in North Carolina, you pay that fee up front. That money's gone unless you close. Right. In South Carolina, you negotiate it first, but it's not terminated until you actually pay it. So it is somebody that you do need to have an agent who is on your side and knows those intricacies very well to be able to feel confident in our area to be able to buy a home.
Yeah. Another thing I like to advise my relocation clients is I ask them about where they live. So I'm sorry, where they work. So
Oh,
if
yeah.
they are working in Charlotte,
Mhm.
but living in South Carolina, I always say make sure you talk to your tax advisor because there are extra taxes that you will pay to the state of South Carolina for living here but having employment in North Carolina. So you could pay
Income tax.
taxes, two income taxes because you're working here but living here. And that was even our 21-year-old son when he was 18 years old. He was still in high school and he got a job at a restaurant, and the restaurant owner had another location and asked him to go work in the new location, which happened to be in the Steel Creek area in Charlotte. So he was crossing that bridge every day, going to work in
Every
North
day.
Carolina. And I was like, this is not a good idea because you live here
Yeah.
and you're working as a server in a restaurant. So let's tell your boss thanks, but no thanks. And let's backtrack that a little bit. But those are other things that you have to think about. And I'm not a tax professional, but I always say talk to your tax advisor and just kind of look at it because does it make sense? And sometimes it's usually not that big a deal, but it is something that depending on everybody has different tax liabilities, etc. So it's just something to be aware of.
Exactly. So, in your opinion, how can someone confidently buy in an area that they don't know yet?
In my opinion, they can confidently buy in an area they don't yet by doing research, right? So making sure that you're partnering with somebody that understands the complexities, being aware, and even if you're talking to an agent and they go right away to setting you up on a home list and showing you homes, if they haven't asked you these lifestyle questions, give it to them. Tell them up front. This is regardless of what area you're moving to. Let them know about what it is that you like to do on the weekend. Let them know about what's important to you. If you need to be within so many minutes to a hospital or some kind of medical facility, if you're doing things regularly, if you like to go hiking, those kinds of things. If you have certain activities that you do on the weekend, if the kids are playing baseball or soccer or whatever it is, or maybe you like to travel a lot and you just want to be close to the airport, all those are very important. If your agent isn't asking you these questions up front, offer that information to them to make sure that you are doing your research on the neighborhoods and ask in advance. Can you give me some neighborhoods that fit this criteria? And then do your research on them. Look at them. And I like to tell my people who are like, if they're currently living in the area or they have time. I was talking to somebody yesterday and I said, here's this new place that's coming up. I said, drive by it first. She said, let's go make an appointment. I said, go drive by. If it's close to your work, I said, drive by and make sure you like the neighborhood. If it looks like, yes, I like it here, this looks like it's fitting my vibe, okay. So that's a big one I like to have people do first because driving, making an appointment, showing a house, and you're like, like drive by first, make sure you like the neighborhood. But when you're moving from out of town, it's hard to do that. But it is good to just give what the requirements are up front and then ask your agent, your realtor partner, to give you some that you can research. But research is key. And it's hard to research on Zillow and platforms like that because they're just showing you a house. You want to look at actual neighborhoods and get feedback that way.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know. You can go on YouTube and you can
Mhm.
Google, because it is part of Google. You
Yeah.
can YouTube a neighborhood, and a lot of times you'll have realtors that have actually already videoed those specific neighborhoods, so you can
Mhm.
actually see what it looks like. You can see what it's
Absolutely.
built like, what amenities they have, all of those different things as you're moving into the area.
Yeah. And then drive times are important too. So for my friends that are moving from California and they are used to an hour commute in on the West Coast will be a different hour commute when you move on the East Coast. So
It's
even,
same thing from Chicago. Yeah,
yeah, or Chicago or even DC.
yeah, 15 miles becomes an hour commute. And
Yeah.
it's like we moved, myself and my children, my family, we actually moved from the Raleigh area here 20 years ago. And
Mm.
when we moved, my husband at the time had a 45-minute drive to work and it was 38 minutes. We moved
Mm.
here, and Raleigh has got a lot of sprawl. It's not as big as Charlotte, but it's still just spread out because we actually do have land down here. And then we moved to the Charlotte area. We had a 22-mile commute, and it was still 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Even time frame can vary depending on how much you're driving.
Indeed.
Why should relocation buyers build their teams before touring homes? And what does building a team mean?
Yeah, so building a team is a combination of number one, you want to make sure that you have the right lender. So there are plenty of just like there's hundreds of thousands of real estate agents just in our area, same thing for lenders. Building your team consists of everybody that's going to help you and partner with you in your move from this city, state, country here to the Lake Wylie area. So making sure that you have, excuse me, you have a lender that you are comfortable with. I advise my clients to interview lenders just as they're interviewing real estate agents, real estate partners, to make sure that the form of communication is good. Do you like the way you're communicating? Do you prefer you doing FaceTime, or do you prefer over the phone? Do you prefer text? But having that good communication and getting that good sense of partnership from them is important. So your team would consist of a lender and then a real estate agent that also has that good communication skills, those good communications, and what it's fitting to what you're looking for, right? So I have a team of partners, and then also we can even include insurance agents. So everything that you're going to need when you're moving, you're going to need insurances, making sure that the home in the neighborhood is something that you're going to be comfortable with insurance, because it's another cost, right? Stuff that we look for as agents, we look for like flood zones, etc. But there's a difference between what insurance you're going to pay if you're choosing a townhome community versus a standalone home, or even if you're looking to get a home, as you're going to find here in our area, there's basement homes. There's homes that are on septic systems, because you might get like an acre or more, and those are all. You might get a home that's on the water, that's lakefront. All have different insurance costs associated with them, in addition to different financing options that are available to you. So that's what I mean by building your team is, do I have the right lender that's going to be flexible with with my finance options, that can give me ideas on how I can properly how to properly formulate your offer to a seller, right? So when you have the right team, then all three of those and will work together to say, okay, now let's put together the best offer that you can, that's going to be competitive, that's going to be a win for you, a win for the seller, and then give you less headache when you're actually going through that negotiation process.
We're also seeing, and I'm not sure if you have, but right now, a lot of the insurance folks are cracking down on roof ages.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to see a lot of agents are struggling with any kind of roof that's over the age of 7. And
Mm-hmm.
thankfully, knock on wood, please Lord, I actually haven't run across that as of yet. But we really are starting to see all of these different pieces fall in line. And I tell my clients the exact same thing. You're the boss. You are building a team. You want somebody that you're comfortable with. You want somebody who gets to know you and what you're looking for, whether it be a real estate agent, whether it be your lender, because your lender might be able to say, oh, we have this program inside. Or if you have a broker, they can say, not only can we do this, but we can also do this different program, which will save you money in the long run. So that you want somebody who's guiding you. You want to create this team that they're guiding you, so you can feel confident when you're buying a home and that you're making the best choice for you and your family.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
What trends are you seeing in relocation in the Charlotte and Lake Wylie markets?
The trends that I'm seeing is here in the Lake Wylie area in particular, and I think also in parts of Charlotte, or in Charlotte, the months of inventory, we're getting to more of a balanced market. So gone are the days where people that were relocating from out of state were having that pressure that they needed to put an offer the weekend they come in, because that's most of the time that's not the case, unless it is, the number one rule in real estate, it's location, right? So if you happen to fall in love with a house that's like lakefront property, that's priced very strategically, then okay, those, I understand, those get into multiple offer situations and you have to be ready. But for the average person that's relocating, the average family that's relocating here, that's not the case. You now have breathing room, so you can come in, take a look, make sure it's feeling right, it has that vibe that you're looking for. But again, the research would have been done ahead of time, so you should only be seeing those neighborhoods that are fitting your lifestyle, so that you would be coming in feeling comfortable. But that's one thing that I'm seeing. That's not a rash. I got to do it. Back a couple of, let's say 20, gosh, we're already in 2026.
Yeah.
That went fast. But think about 5, 6 years ago, people were buying homes online. They were like literally throwing offers in, before, but they were buying them sight unseen, which puts a lot of stress on families, even people who were buying locally. They were losing to people who were coming in with cash offers or people who had never seen the home before. So that is definitely not the case anymore. Very rare. It happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but now buyers today have more breathing room, so they can take their time and making sure they're feeling like they're making a good decision without feeling
That's
rushed.
that's one of the things I am thankful for, because a lot of times we get the general public who come in, get their real estate license because it looks easy. You've been doing this for a minute. You've been doing this for 14 years this year. I'm at
Yeah.
18 years. And oh, it looks easy. It should be easy, not a big deal. And then, when it's those times, you're literally an order taker. We have a printer
Yeah.
in our truck that we are able to print off contracts right then and there for people to sign. And we started doing that right at COVID 20, 21,
Mm-hmm.
22. But thankfully, yes, our days on market just for this past month, were 67 days on market. That's the
Mm-hmm.
average for all 16 counties.
Yeah.
So, yes, some neighborhoods are going to be faster. Some lakefront properties are going to be faster. But on average, I met one uptown. We just did a listing appointment uptown this past weekend, and their average days on market are 89. So it's taking a lot longer because they're in a gentrified neighborhood. So homes that
Yeah.
aren't updated are taking longer. Homes that are updated aren't taking as long. So you're seeing that kind of thing where
Yeah.
people are having to deal with that. At least they can see a home multiple times. They can bring their family with. They can bring their dad, have their dad check it out, or their uncle. That's one of the nice parts about how we're getting back to what we would consider a normal market.
Yeah.
That way, when people are actually looking, they have the time to actually invest in a home to make sure it does fit them.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. And I tell my clients too, like we move as fast or as we give or as slow as we need. There's never any pressure. And if it comes to a situation where I'm like, okay, you're really digging this neighborhood and stuff is starting to come off market as it comes on, we have that discussion. I let you know ahead of time. But you're absolutely right. Like buyers, people have time now to think about it. But they're even are. I'm also noticing that buyers are we're a little bit more educated and they're getting snazzier, like with their financial situation and understanding. Like people don't realize that you can have rate buy downs included in your offer, or you can even find that lender that says, hey, we will do a zero cost refinancing if rates drop in the next 6 months. So don't freak out if the rate is not exactly where you want it to be in 6 months' time. If it drops a little bit or you save enough money to get some buy down rates, you can refinance it at no fee. So there's all those different little things that are coming in place, which is why it's important. Again, going back to having that team so that we can make so that the team together can craft the best situation for you. So even if that home seems a little bit out of the range, but it's exactly the perfect fit, there's things that can happen about that. We can do something about it. But buyers are getting more savvy. They have more breathing room now. It's not in panic mode, and it's going to be okay. So I think people are coming in now more. They're buying more confidently,
Yeah.
and they're coming with really great questions, which I love.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the great things about having the internet at your fingertips, is that you can actually learn from folks like us that are putting it out there to give them the questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Or because on our team lending sheet, we actually have questions for our buyers to ask, especially first time home buyers, where they can
Mm-hmm.
ask, what are the rates associated with this loan? So they can look at that lender and this lender and the other lender and kind of stack them all together and go, okay, this one will cost me less, but I really like the way that this one communicates and it fits me better. Maybe I can get them to match their offer. And yes, you can do that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and there's also grants. We also have here in our states, in North or South Carolina, there's different opportunities for like first time home buyers, or even are what some of them have like hometown hero. opportunities. So if you're like a teacher, or you're in the medical industry, or a first responder, there's even lenders that have special programs for people who are doctors. So medical people in the medical profession. But understanding what options are available for you, that's why it's important, like when you're building your team, that you're having these discussions. And you and I, as professionals, we've been doing this for a long time. We've run into that. So I even give my buyers, I'm like, here are a couple of questions you might want to ask when you're interviewing your lenders. And yes, we all have a list of preferred ones, but I'm like, call them all, interview them
Yeah.
all, and if you find other ones, interview them too. I
Yep.
don't just work with these, I work with a lot of them.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody, just make sure. But here's the questions that I think might fit your particular situation, because you are a firefighter, or your wife is a doctor, or you're a first responder, or you're a first time home buyer, or whatever. There's a lot of opportunities out there for people to buy a home here in our area.
Jen, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a pleasure getting to know you, getting to
Thank you
meet
so
you.
much. Yeah.
I absolutely I truly do believe in making our industry better, not only agent to agent, but making our industry better for everyone involved. And I'm so
Of
very
course.
thankful to meet such a qualified professional that is doing an amazing job in our industry. And I want to thank you for that. We do have all of your socials. We will be promoting you when this comes out in a few weeks, but I just
Thank
wanted
you.
to thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And then I just want everybody to remember, that moving to a new city really isn't about real estate. It's about moving to a place where you're excited to wake up every day.
Yes,
And that's what it's about. And that's what people like Dee and I are here for. We're here to we are here to help make that happen for you.
exactly.
So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me on Make Yourself at Home. I hope you found insights and inspiration to help you navigate your real estate journey with confidence. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and share this show with your friends, because everyone deserves to feel at home. Until next time, stay informed, stay empowered, and keep making moves that matter.